Two HVAC companies can generate the same total revenue but operate very differently. One may rely on constantly acquiring new customers, while the other generates more revenue from each existing customer. So, annual revenue per active customer helps owners understand whether their growth is coming from more customers or more valuable customers. And so, I'm going to show you how to calculate exactly this. It's not too hard to calculate this. I want to show you two different ways to do it, just depending on how you want to see the data. This is at the customer level, and this is sort of rolled up at the number of customers, the revenue, and then the average. But you can see here is the same numbers. Okay, so here in the data set, it's a really in-depth data set. I try to make them as realistic. I have multiple HVAC clients, and so I want to make it as realistic as possible. But we don't need all these columns for this specific KPI. The main thing we need is the customer ID, the service date, and then the net revenue, which is way over here, right here, which is just gross minus discount. Okay, so the only thing we have to calculate on this is the year. We need to strip out the year from the service date. So you can do it multiple ways. You can use the text function. The problem with the text function is then the result is stored as text, but we want it to be stored as a number. So we're just going to use the year function. So equals year, and then go over to the service date column D, and then you have this here. And so that's the only column that we have to calculate, because everything else we can do on the other tab. Okay, so I'm going to delete this column because we already have it. I just wanted to show you how to do it. And so what we need first is we need a unique list of the customers, of the customer numbers. And what I'm going to show you, I'll do the first one here just to show you. So equals unique. When I say here, I'll do it by coming back to this tab. So equals unique customer ID here. So don't click, you see where E is green? Don't click it like that. It's in a table. You see how it says table LTV? And now we have a list of all the customers, 520 customers. Okay, so then from here, what we want is we want to break out the year. So we want the years in the data set here, and it's a fairly large, like, historical data set. So what we're going to do is we're going to do unique, the table that we just did, and then the new column we created was called year. So we have this here. It's already, so you see how it's not sorted properly? So now I want to sort this properly. So sort, and then now I want to do this to where it's transposed across the top. So we want to like this, because we're going to do the sum of revenue by customer by year. So, and the way we do that is we need to sum if S, right? So then you can go to the table. So typing this in is referring to that data set. And then what we want is we want net revenue. Here, that's what we want to sum. And then we want to sum where the customer ID is here, cell B3, and I'm going to put a $sign before the letter B. That way, if we drag it down, it changes, but if we go left to right, it won't go 23, 24. Like the column B will stay the same. And then the final one is table and the year, and that's going to be C2. And what I'm going to show you is what I mean, because I know it's a little bit hard to understand sometimes. So if I don't put that $sign on B3, you see how right here it's on customer, but if I go over, it's not. It's right here. It's easier to see if I show you this way. So I need to put a $sign in the middle of C and 2. I need to lock the row, because what happens is right now we're looking in the year column for 2023, but if we drag this down, we're looking in the year column for the number 0, and so we're not going to get an answer. So to lock the column to where as I go left to right, this stays the same, I put a $sign before the column, so before the letter, and then for the row, I put it before the number. And just to make sure this is working, you can see that this customer was in 2024. And then I'm going to paste that down, and you can see this customer is all the time, right? Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to get the average to create this chart here. So I want the average of each one, but the thing is, so we can do year and then average. I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. So now what we want is we want the average, but we don't want just the average of, here, I'll just name two columns. If we do the average of just 2023, it's super low. And the reason is because we're counting customers that didn't purchase anything. So we want an average of active customers who purchase something in the year. And so the way we do that is with the average if, or the average if s. I'm going to use average if s. So it's just like what we did before with SUMIFS. It's just now we're averaging instead of summing. So now what we want to do is we want to average this. So I'm going to click here in cell C3, press Control Shift down to highlight the whole range, comma. And then now the criteria range is the same range, comma, but this time we want it if it's greater than 0. So we want the average if it's non-zero, essentially. I mean, there's no negative numbers here. And so that's how you do that, because let me show you. And if I drag this across, now we because we didn't lock the cells, if you remember the dollar signs, everything is moving over, which is what we want. And so that's why we don't need to lock the dollar signs. But you can see the huge difference, right? And it's because this is averaging, zeros, essentially. Okay, so to get the chart, just click anywhere in your data. Pretty straightforward. Insert. You can go to recommended. You can pick one, whatever you like looking at. I'm gonna do a simple line chart. I'm gonna add the values, and then what is this, annual revenue per active? Yeah, so per active customer. And the definition here of active is that they purchase something, within there was a transaction in that year. Okay, so I'm going to show you another way to do it, because this I wanted to show, okay, you can get it at the customer level, which is good. But at the same time, if you just want something like this, which is, year unique customer count, do it right here. And then I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to press right click ST to transpose the values down. We transposed earlier up here across the road. Now we want to transpose it down. So now to get the unique number of customers, what we want to do is we want to filter. So equals filter. We want to filter the customer list here, comma. And then we want to do it where the year here equals, and then that cell that we did, so this cell here, and then multiply it where net revenue is, I always get this part confused, but I think that's right. And then we got it's going to spit an error. Yeah, and the reason is we need to break these. We need to put each argument inside its own parentheses. And then I think I messed up on this part here. I need to do and. Nope. Let me see, because I have the formula right here. So let me just see what it is. Greater than 0. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. So it's just greater than 0. That's sort of funny. Okay, so you'll notice the first problem we have is that we have a lot of duplicates. So we don't want duplicates first, and then we don't want a list. We want to count. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the duplicates by using the unique function. So now we only have a unique list of the customers that spent money in 2023. But now I want to count A. And now you get 113. So in other words, if you were to go through here, there would be 113 customers with a non-zero value. And that's what we want. And then now we want net revenue, which is super easy now because we just want to sum the table. We want to sum the net revenue column, comma, where the table year column is here. And then now if you just take the average, you'll see it matches up here. So these numbers here match these numbers here. And so it's good, like it's useful in the sense that, you might just want to see the number of customers. But the thing is that what this is telling you is not necessarily, this isn't telling you that you're getting more customers. This is telling you that your average annual spend for active customers is greater. Like this is, because if this was including customers, like say we were just doing revenue, it's like, okay, I'm making a lot more revenue, but it's like, yeah, but you're also bringing in a lot more customers, right? You're 113 to 443, you're 4xing your customers. But the thing is you're 8xing your revenue. And that's what, you want to see, because whenever you 4x your customers and 8x your revenue, you're actually doubling your average revenue per customer, right? So it's like, having the insights is good, but understanding what they say is obviously more valuable. And so anyways, that's it on this video. There's two ways to do the same thing, more than one way to skin a cat. But yeah, questions at databoards.io. If you have any questions on this, if you want this data set with my solutions and with my formulas and all that stuff, there's a link to download it. If you can't find it, shoot me an email. And if you need some help structuring your data, in a usable way, or getting insights into your data or KPIs into your data, then you can, again, shoot me an email and we can hop on a call, or there's a link to my calendar to set up a time to chat. But yeah, so that's it on this one, and I'll see you in future videos.